Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I am so sorry that I'm late trying to figure out the technology um, and make sure that we have it all worked out. Anyway, I'm still not 100% sure the technology is working great. So if anyone is watching live, if you can just give me a hello. Just give me a hi, I'm here, so that I know you are watching live. I love how we can do almost anything online now once we figure it out. And usually I need my teenagers to help me do this. So, but they're not here today. This is not for the teenagers. This is for us parents of teens only. Um, so if you're watching with a teen, I would suggest maybe have them maybe go into the other room. This really is a group just for parents of teens. Okay, I see some highs. Hi, Jennifer. Hello. Now, I can't tell who's saying hi, so I apologize. But if you have questions as we're going along, please ask them. Um, and I really wish I knew who you were that was saying hi, but this program doesn't allow that to show who you are. So anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. I guess we'll get started, and I do see that you can hear me, which is great. Tell me how old your teens are. Have you got young teens? Um, are they a little bit older, or maybe they are just young adults? Are they? Just tell me how old your kids are. Well, I'll tell you about my kids. I've got four. The oldest is 20. There's an 18-year-old and 13-year-old boys who are who we're fostering, and this is the year that we're adopting them. So it's very exciting. All right, twin boys. Oh, someone has twin boys that are 15. That's awesome. I'm sorry I can't tell who you are, but hello and welcome. Almost 14. Yeah, awesome, awesome ages. All right. Well, please, 16, 18, and 21. Wow, those are all amazing ages. So tell me what brings you here today. What are you struggling with? I know that you're here because you want to learn about the 3 C's of parenting teens. Today is all about connection, and from what I've heard from most of you, it is something to talk about. You know, we see all these other parents that are connecting with their teens, and we're wondering why isn't this us? We see these other families out there that are living the life and traveling and chatting and having a great connection, and just wondering why that isn't happening in our families. And to tell you the truth, I am right there along beside you because that's it's my story too. I really was struggling to connect with my kids, and that's one of the reasons that I wanted to bring everyone together, all these experts in the parenting world that can help us out and really show us how it's done. And most of these experts that I've been able to connect with have been through it. So it's always nice to know that, well, not nice for them, I guess, but nice to know that we're not the only ones. And I think that if nothing else is a big message for all of you today, that you are not the only ones going through this. Whatever it is that you are worried about, whatever you're struggling with right now in your family, you are not the only one. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of other families. They're probably your friends and your neighbors. Um, and family. These are other people raising teens that are going through the same thing. But oftentimes we don't talk about it, right? We don't come right out and say all the struggles that we're having. Um, because of course with parenting, and we're all seasoned parents, we know along with parenting comes this guilt and the shame. So one of my big goals is to reach out and just, figure out a way together that we can let go of that guilt and that shame, and we can get that connection back with our kids, and we can really just start loving their life again. So give me a heck yeah if you're into that. If you'd like to be just loving your life again, and these difficult times raising teens could be one of the stories that you have from the past. All right, I see a few more people that have joined. 12 years old, 17, and 15. That's awesome. Now, I should mention too that this workshop isn't just for parents, it's for step parents, it's for foster parents, adoptive parents, it's for grandparents, it's for caregivers, it's for anyone really raising and working with teens. So you don't necessarily have to be raising them, even if you're just working with teens. These tips are going to be very, very useful for you. I wanted to mention a couple other things before we get started. Have a super amazing surprise for you. We've got two brilliant experts that are going to be joining us today to share with us 3 tips. We're gonna have you leave with 3 amazing tips on what you can do to build connection right now. Okay, so I see in the comments, thank you. Yes, please. Good. Yeah. Okay. Tell me what you're struggling with. Tell me what is worrying you right now. Put it in the comments. And again, this is in our Parent Teens Facebook group. This group is a safe place for you to talk about what's going on. This is not a place for your teens. So, you know, feel free to let us know what's happening so that we can really connect and figure out some solutions and talk about ideas together. So I wanted to just tell you over the next 4 days what we're going to be doing. So the 3 C's, you guessed it, the first one's connection. So today we're going to talk about connection. Um, we're going to welcome these parenting experts into our lives today so that they can help us out with these 3 tips. And guaranteed, like if you're thinking right now, I've tried everything. You're thinking like, I've done it all. There is like no hope. There's nothing I can change right now that's going to make a difference in our lives. I'm here to tell you that it is possible, that I went through this and I implemented these tips thanks to all of these parenting experts that you're going to meet. Um, there is hope, and there is there is a way. Like, I know what you're feeling right now. I know you're feeling lost, and I know you're feeling, you probably don't even know where to turn. Because I remember feeling that exact same way. And then I remember thinking, there's got to be a better way, but I had no idea what I was doing wrong. Like, I had no idea. So I want to just tell you that there is so much hope for the future in our teens that are just trying to figure it out like we are, and nothing's working right now. So please, if nothing else, take these 3 tips that we're going to give you every day this week and just try them. Just see what happens. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about control, and more so letting go of control, which is really, really, really hard. for us parents that have been, telling our kids what to eat and what to wear and what to do for the past 12, 13, 14 years. So that's going to be really, really good tomorrow. Guaranteed you're going to come away with some awesome tools tomorrow. Wednesday's all about care. This one's so important to be taking care of yourself. I like to call this one the it's time for me to get a hobby day. So you're going to love Wednesday. Okay, so let's get to it for today. I'm just going to take a second and hello, everyone. Again, thank you for joining. Okay, the things you're struggling right now with are attitude and defiance. Knowing the difference between joking and disrespect is a good one. How to communicate with him and make him feel comfortable in any conversation is a good one. And then the last one is everything: drug use, truancy, lying, disrespect to elders. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing those. Okay, I'm going to welcome in Laura. Now, thanks for bearing with me, and you already know that technology has not been on our side completely today, so Laura Lyles-Reagan is a sociologist. She's an amazing parent coach. She has been coined the teen and parent relationship whisperer, which is amazing. So I'm going to welcome Laura in. She's going to give us our first tip today. So give me 1 second. Let's see if I can get this. Let's see. Laura, are you coming in to join me?
Yay! Hello, everyone. Hi there.
Hi. Hi. I didn't even talk about the book. You are the author of How to Raise Respectful Parents.
That's right. That's right.
I should have had a book cover to show everybody. But Laura's here just for a few minutes with us today. But I also did an amazing interview with Laura. It was, quite a bit longer, and you can find it on our YouTube channel. So if you want to get to know Laura better, you can find our chat on the YouTube channel and then also in our Parent Teen site. But Laura, I want you to take it away because we have 3 really good tips for our parents today. I have used each one of these tips, and I can guarantee there is going to be change happening in your house if you implement even one of these tips. And I think like they sound so easy, and sometimes it's not so easy to do. But I think if you just have a listen to what Laura has to tell us about the first tip and just take with it what you can and just try and implement it in your family and just see what happens. So Laura, tell us about tip number 1.
Sure. First of all, thank you, Jennifer, for inviting me and for opening up this free workshop to our Parent Teens group. It's been wonderful to interact with parents in the group already a little bit, and then to be part of this inaugural free workshop is awesome too. So thank you for that. The first tip I have to share is about listening. If we want kids to hear us, we must hear them. It seems so simplistic to say and tough to do, but that's what we all want. That's what our souls want, is to be heard, to be heard for exactly who we are. So any behavior that a teen is presenting with, a tween, even a young adult, that we find objectionable or that we're struggling with or that we're scared about, we first have to hear where they're coming from and what that's about. And they may not know what the motivation of that behavior is, and you don't expect them to, be their own psychologist, if you will, and share that. But just to simply acknowledge that you see that they're struggling and that you hear that they may be in pain or they may be frustrated by something is a really, really powerful tool. And we use both 2 kinds of listening. One is active listening and one is passive listening. Passive listening is just, letting them ramble and giving a couple of I hear you, in the middle of that. Active listening is what the classic psychiatrist uses when a patient's on a couch, in that old analytical model, where you simply repeat the last 2 or 3 words of the phrase that the communicator is speaking, and you say, so I hear you saying, and you repeat it to them. Or so you're feeling frustrated, whatever they're communicating to you, you mirror it back. And that's what active listening is you just stand right there as the mirror, and you say, I see you frustrated, I see you excited about, your new iPhone, whatever it is. You simply mirror it back. And that has the most amazing transformational piece to it, because it communicates to your team, first of all, that they're important to you. And believe it or not, some of these behaviors that we see as problematic and scary, that bring up triggers in us because we're concerned, and possibly rightfully so. I don't want to diminish that. But so often it's about the teen saying, I'm here, and wanting their, the depth of their struggle to be heard. And so when you put that mirror up, and you just say, this is what I see in you. I see frustration, I see fear, I see excitement, I see joy, whatever it is, you just simply reflect back that feeling to them. It gives it gives an immediate relaxation to our team, because it's like, oh, I'm heard, and it's a very human effect. I know I feel that way when my friends actively listen to me. I feel that way when, my significant others listen to me as well that way. So it's just giving them this basic connected humanity that says, I hear and I see you. And it requires us to step a little bit outside of ourselves and let go of our fear and our projected concern, which may be completely real. I don't want to diminish that, but we deal with that in another place, right? We deal with that with a loved one, with a friend, with a therapist, with a parent, coach, whoever. We deal with what's going on with us in a little bit different place, so that we don't pile that onto the relationship, and then simply give that mirror back. I see you, and whatever the emotion is. And I've seen that be really transformational in my own life with my teens. Teens have this struggle of hormonal changes in really fast, dynamic ways. And even if you are practicing all the best material that you can get from parent coaches, you're still going to have a few struggles and eruptions, because they are having such a tough time governing themselves, because things change so fast. So when that occurs, it's helpful to just know that it's not about me, and I'm just going to hear where you are. And I don't have to change it, I don't have to fix it, I don't have to control it, all the stuff we're going to talk about tomorrow, right? But I'm just going to acknowledge that this is where you are. And that has helped me and my daughters, who are now young adults, but when they were in their teen years and going through, those hormonal shifts and those big emotions, it would help us all just kind of slow down. Okay, I hear you. You're frustrated right now. Do you need a break? Do you need, how can I help? Whatever that is. But just to simply slow down and reflect, this is what I see, this is what I hear. And first of all, it allowed them to, yes, experience the self-esteem of being heard, but also to go, okay, I don't have to go over the top about this. It's just an emotion. This too shall pass. It kind of had that unwritten message underneath there when I reflected the feelings. So it calmed us all down from the heightened emotion. And then I've seen it transform in my clients' lives, and that I just feel so privileged to be a part of their parenting journeys. One mom was literally estranged from her 17-year-old son, and had lots of struggle with him. He lived with his dad, and they were separated for 5 years, and she was just beginning to reconnect with him and work through her own issues. And so that family had a lot of pain and some mental health issues. And what she did was simply begin active listening, being the feeling mirror to him, and it softened the entire relationship. No longer was the son feeling pushed or disapproved of, or like she wanted to chase relationship with him when he distrusted her. It just calmed everything down, and he was willing to actually go to coaching with her because of this reflection, this ability to do active listening and be the mirror of the emotion. And it was super simple. It transformed inside of 2 weeks, the entire relationship. And, to this day, she is so grateful that she just simply listened. The other thing I wanted to share was I have another client that talked about uh, practicing active listening and passive listening in the car when they were on the way to, the soccer practice or, the band practice or whatever, because the pressure was off. Sometimes it's this flight fight mechanism that gets hooked up in teens. Sometimes when we're doing eye contact, sometimes that's perceived as a threat. So in the car, we're both facing forward, and there's more of an egalitarian connection there. And kids tend to open up about their lives, and they would talk about, I know my own girls would, who they were eating lunch with and who their best friend was and what their favorite subject in school was. And they would just rattle, 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 rattle. But all of that marvelous conversation that I got to be privileged to hear was then foundational to problem solving down the road. So listening is like the bedrock of everything. And listening both actively and passively can make softening and transformational change.
That's amazing, Laura. Thank you so much. It is a real shift, isn't it? Like, we parent our kids and we kind of tell them what to do. And as they're young, when they're younger, we're not so much doing the active listening as telling them and teaching them and guiding them. And when they become teens, it is really important to practice that mirroring. And it makes them feel, I know, just like you said, less judged and less shame and whatever they're talking about. So it is an amazing, simple skill that can really transform.
Right. It takes the pressure off, I think, from having to have an agenda between you to just truly connecting as human beings, heart to heart. And I don't mean you lose your power as a parent. I'm not talking about permissive parenting or authoritarian or any of that lingo. It's just connecting with them as human beings. I hear you and I see you, and whatever you're feeling is okay. The behavior may not be okay, and we may need to talk about that later. But right now, I'm going to hear you and validate where you are. And that makes a really softening of the relationship and can be key to transformational change.
Absolutely. And because today is all about connection, I love that that's the first tip. I love it.
Yeah, me too.
It isn't about, and I really don't like the labels of, the parenting labels that we all get. I know.
Right.
But I think the beginning, we take all those labels away and we just focus on that connection and the amazing movement in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Just I can tell you, I've done that in our family, and the difference it makes is profound. So thank you so much, Laura, for sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're going to come back tomorrow, right?
I am.
You're going to come back tomorrow, and we're going to talk about control. So that's going to be awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Laura. And if anyone wants to connect with Laura, type your questions in, because this is live right now. Whoever's watching live, thank you so much for being here. But if you're coming back and you're watching the recording, definitely put your questions in, because Laura is in the group as well. And Laura, I know, would be happy to answer any questions that you have. So please feel free to type in your questions. Even if we can't get to them today, we'll come back and make sure that each one of them are answered at a later date.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
We'll see you tomorrow, Laura.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was amazing. That was just truly amazing what Laura had to share with us. Now, you are going to love our next guest. Marina Sounders is a licensed social worker and PCI certified parent coach. And She is going to speak to a couple more ideas for us today on how to connect with our teens. Before I bring Maria on, I just want to mention one thing, which is something that might be coming up for you right now as a parent that is really going through a difficult time. You might think you're way past using any of these tools and techniques. And I want to tell you that it's never too late. It doesn't matter where you are in your relationship with your teen, whether you're just worried, they've just turned 13, they're 12 even, and they're starting to talk back or do things that you're not happy about, or it's more serious and there is drugs and you're concerned about sex or truancy or anything like that. These tools can be used for any age. So I just wanted you to know that, because I don't want you to lose hope that maybe we're speaking about someone at a specific stage or age, and that these tools don't apply to you. They absolutely can. And I really would encourage you to just have a listen to what Maria's saying and implement them as you see fit. But I know you're going to love them. So let's welcome Maria in.
Hi.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all, or at least see that you're here.
Hi, Maria. Thanks for joining us. You have a big, long bio, and I want people to get to know you. I could go on and on forever, but I really want to get to it's all good stuff, but the tips for our parents that are watching today. Now, you can find a lot more about Maria on our Parent Teens Club site, but also we did a really amazing chat that's on our YouTube channel. I just love it, and I hope that everyone watches that too. But tell us a little bit about what you're going to talk about, Maria. You're going to give us 2 more tips today on how to create connection with our teens, no matter the age or stage they're at.
Sure, absolutely. So thank you again for having me, and I'm glad you're all here to participate in this, because kind of like Jennifer said, and I'm really glad you said it's not too late. I work with parents of kids of all ages, and specifically I run a group, and I have a few parents who have teenagers, and the changes they've made over the course of, some have been with us a short amount of time and some have been with us for a year and a half. It's tremendous to be able to see the change, even when they are, still 15, 16 years old. There's still a lot of opportunity. So 2 of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about today, one is connection and one is being mindful. And I could tease them out and talk about them separately, but they do go hand in hand so much. So I'm kind of going to talk about both at the same time. But those are basically the 2 tips joined together. So when you're trying to connect with our kids, even just saying connecting with your teen, it's like, how do I do that? My teen, there's no connection with my teen, right? All they do is live behind closed doors or outside of the house with their friends. So thinking about how can we connect with them when they've already started to disconnect. The first thing is knowing that is normal. As difficult as it is to see our kids starting to flee the nest and separate and have that disconnection, for the most part, it's healthy and it's really good for them. And it forces us to use tip number 3, which is being mindful of whatever comes up for us. So many times we go into a state of fear and we're afraid. What is my kid doing outside on a Friday night until 10, 11 o'clock? Who are they with? What are they doing? How are they getting around? All those fears come up. And then when we get overwhelmed by the fears, we try to take control. And I know control is a talk of tomorrow, but we need to be mindful of what comes up for us, because what our dialogue is in our heads does impact how we then behave with our kids. So we really do need to be mindful of the words that we're telling ourselves. So if we start to go into that fear state, we're going to want to freak out and control the situation. We need to come back to a place of confidence and remind ourselves we've parented well. I trust my child. And telling ourselves all those positive messages. And so going back to tip number 2 with the connection, I know it's a challenge, but there's plenty of ways that we can build connection. And one of them is finding opportunities to join with our kids. So the reason they like their friends is because their friends speak their language. Their friends do the things that they want to do. So not that we're trying to be their friends, but we're trying to get to be on the same page as our kids for something. So it might be, for example, with a client I worked with, she had 2 boys. They were 13 and I think 11 years old. So a little bit on the younger side, but it was actually the 13-year-old she was having a tough time with. And the little boy loved to play video games. And I suggested, just surprise him. Go down into the basement and sit down next to him and tell him, like, I have no idea what you're playing. Can you teach me? And really be mindful of how you do that. Recognize that you can't fake it. You really have to join with an interest of connection. I really want to connect with my boy here. And so joining him in playing video games, join your child outside playing basketball, join your child doing volunteer work. Volunteer work is huge because it just makes us feel good to give back. And so being able to like release some of that, good feeling together is really amazing. But find out what your kids like and join them in that activity. That really helps in kind of what Laura was talking about before, in getting our kids to open up. They tend to open up more when they're feeling in a place of calm, and they feel in a place of calm and centeredness when they're doing what they really enjoy. And what they really don't enjoy is sitting face to face with us at the dinner table and we're like, okay, so tell me about your day. But when we're doing an activity that really is their specialty and they get to show off and teach us and be the leader, that is an amazing experience for our kids. So I would say, volunteering, playing with them, joining in their activity. Also, their friends are their comfort. Welcome their friends into your home. Host an afternoon barbecue where you throw out the, basketballs and whatever else, put on some music and whatever it is to invite their friends, taking them to like a climbing gym, for example. I know a lot of kids are into climbing gyms or ropes courses and things, or we have a lot of that in our area. That would be something amazing to say, like, I'd love to get to know your friends too. And why don't we all go together to do this activity? Because it's not too late to try to implement some of these rituals. Rituals are another great thing to do with our kids because it builds a habit, it builds an expectation, and that familiarity of, I know what happens here, and now your child and you both feel a bit more comfortable. So going back to a bit about the mindfulness, we really have to recognize all the thoughts that come in and out of our mind. It's a busy, chaotic world between parenting and our work and all the other hats we wear, maybe of being a sister to somebody, a daughter to somebody. We're wearing a lot of hats. And so trying to connect with our breath, to slow us down, just to pay attention to what is happening is so important. Once we're able to do that, it creates space, and that space creates opportunity. So once we're able to create some space and listen to ourselves, not even having anything to do with our kids, but our own, like I said, our own inner dialogue, then we have opportunity to change things, to respond differently to our kids. But the only way we can do that if we're really listening to ourselves. So slowing it down and listening to what that dialogue says, and then changing our action is really a great approach.
That's awesome. And it really leads us right into what we're going to talk about tomorrow, which is control. Or letting go of control. Letting go of control. I call it like letting go, but hanging on. Just how to let go. And
just bring awareness to the fact that I want to control. Whether you do or you don't, that's different. But bringing awareness to, I have this idea. And that's where the mindfulness comes in. I'm glad you mentioned control again, because it reminded me in my group, in one of the parent groups I run about conscious parenting, one of the moms, her son is 16 years old, and he's an avid bike rider. Like, he has an awesome, expensive, fast speed bike, road bike, I think they're called. And she was starting to get afraid that the summer's coming. The last week of school is in a few days. And she was really concerned about, what do I do? How do I not tell him all of my rules? How do I let go of that need to control? I want to allow him to be able to do his own thing, but I'm so, she was saying, but I'm so scared. What if he leaves the house without a helmet? What if it's raining? What if he gets a flat tire? So we worked logistically through some things. Okay, does he know how to change a flat tire? Does he have a cell phone? Why don't you engage him instead of telling him all the things to do? Ask him some questions. Come from a place of curiosity where instead you're asking him, so what are you going to do if it starts raining? What are you going to do when this happens? Just so that you can understand where he's coming from and get a better idea. But all of that happened in our office first, because if she just went like knee-jerk reaction and freaked out about letting her son ride, independently once school lets out, it would have been a different story. And it took her a lot of work of spending time being mindful about all the thoughts that are coming into her head and all her fears and working through that. But it really helped with building that connection between her and her son around the specific area.
That's so awesome. So I just want to check in with the people that are watching. How's everybody feeling about this? We've got some really good tips. How are you feeling right now? Are you feeling like you can do this? The being mindful, the mirroring, right? Do you feel like you can do this? Just type in the comments, and I know there's a little bit of a delay thanks to this technology, so we could keep chatting, but
I know parents often worry, like, can I do this work? And it feels like such a big thing because we care so deeply about our kids, especially at these teen ages where they are separating so much and trying new things. This is the age of risky behaviors and all of that. But we can do it. We can do it. And thankfully for groups like this, we can support each other as we go through this. But if we look at it like one big thing, like, okay, I'm going to get off of this video and try to go be parent of the year, that's not going to work. If we look at it in small, pieces, okay, I'm just going to work on building some connection during breakfast time. Breakfast time, I'm cooking, we're all in the kitchen. How can I bring some connection and check in with my kid during breakfast time? Maybe it's after school, maybe it's at bedtime. I recommend that at any age, you still go in and say, good night, dear, I love you at the end of the night. It doesn't need to be a big, how was your day? And tell me all the things, but like just a quick check-in, because that's really important. So we don't need to look at like, I'm going to revamp parenting as a whole entire big thing. Look at it piece by piece. And that, finding little doable tasks or make this job a little bit easier.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the feeling I get when I connect. Like, I remember starting out having no idea where to start. Nothing can fix this. I don't know what to do. And then just starting to use these tips. And one, like, and I really do celebrate. If I feel like I've had a win, I'm like patting myself on the back. Way to go. Not the parent of the year, no. But it's a win. And every little win helps and just makes us feel, more confident to do it more. And that we just know how good it feels to connect with those people that once loved us so much.
Right.
And they still do. They're just showing it in a different way right now.
Yeah. And I see that someone said, my boys have shut me out. I'm the enemy, having trouble connecting and not taking it personally.
Mm-hmm.
We take it personally. I mean, it's so easy to take it personally. Why me? Why do they hate me so much? Why do they keep shutting me out? I get that, and I'm so sorry you feel that way, because it's not an easy thing to sit with.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that, and I also want to let you know that I hear that a lot. And it is, like I said, part of normal departure from, them being babies to now doing their own thing. But again, I go back to trying to find ways to, we're not going to let, at this point, if we're going to focus on connection and using, let's play video games or let's play basketball or something like that, let's try out this new gym or whatever, using that as an opportunity not to lecture, not to place judgment, not to blame, not to shame, all those things that we do. And I'm not saying that you do that, but sometimes we don't even realize what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at it with the lens of I am going to connect and I'm going to find one opportunity and put out an olive branch and say, hey guys, I picked up this new thing today. Can you guys help me build it? Right? Something like that. Finding some way to build connection that doesn't have to do with the daily grind of chores and list making and all those things. And I don't know if that's something you have tried, but yes, we do need to keep trying. We still need to keep that connection going. As much as they're pulling away, we don't want to make it a control thing and try to hover, but building connection in a different kind of way, almost like on a friendship basis. We still need to be the parent, but we're looking for opportunities to have some shared, even playing field kind of experiences. And I see someone else here said, what if my teen has already broken trust when given freedom? That's really tough. That being said, you got to work through it, right? So I would sit your teen down and say, hey, you know what? I noticed that the last time, I don't know what the example was, but let's say curfew. I said be home at 10 and you got home at 10:15. Can you tell me what happened? What's going on with that? And you're trying to not come from a place of judgment. I don't want to get into a fight about this. I just want to know what happened. Tell me what's going on. It seems like you've had a lot of difficulty getting home on time for curfew. And then from there, just start opening up the dialogue and asking a lot of questions. It's just you're coming from a place of curiosity, kind of like what Laura was saying, so that they can be seen and that they can be heard. And then have them, your team, come up with ways. And you could say, part of this is trust. And I have lost a bit of trust, but I really want to give you another opportunity. I want you to build, I want this to be a trusting relationship. So let's do this. Let's together come up with a new game plan. And have your child first come up with their approach to sort of earning back the trust. I think if it's a collaborative process, if together you come up with how can, trust be had when it's been broken, having them participate in that process is really huge. It builds connection. It allows them to feel seen and heard as well. So I hope that's helpful. It's tough to not know all the nitty gritty of the details and give, hypothetical examples, but hopefully that's a little something that can help.
Yeah, I think that's a great advice. Don't you guys love that we just have these parenting experts in our pocket right here? All this amazing advice. I think I could sit here for hours and say, well, what if this and what if that? But please reach out if you're watching the replay on this and you have questions. Maria, can you come back and answer some questions for us? Maybe give some tips after.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I mean, I'm just thinking of even more things with the breaking trust and the freedom. I know we're running out of time soon, but the other thing is just knowing that our kids will break our trust again and looking at it personally, okay, did I set my kid up for failure? Did I set them up to break my trust? Are my boundaries too tight? Do I have any flexibility in laying down boundaries that maybe they don't have to necessarily break my trust? If I expect my 16-year-old to be home at 8 o'clock, that might be a little bit tough. So I need to look at the way I'm parenting and the boundaries that I'm putting down to see Is there some wiggle room? Am I set? Can I predict how my child will break this trust? And sometimes if we can do that proactively, we can avoid the trust breaking. And also, if we don't allow for honest communication, they're going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
So kids are going to shut down when they feel like they're being judged or shamed or blamed. So making sure that when we have these conversations, we're coming to them from a place of, go ahead and tell me. I might not like what happened, but we need to work together on this. And allowing for honest communication to take place leads more likely to times of not having to break trust and your kid being able to feel more comfortable saying, Mom, I really messed up. I did a bad thing. I did this drug. I went in someone's car, whatever it is. The minute we flip our lid, forget it. We're lost. And then if they're flipping their lid also, they're lost. So as hard as it is, just allowing for that honest communication to happen is more, leads to more communication and connection with our kids.
That's awesome. I see one other question, but do you have time right now?
If you do, I just have to leave by 3, so let me read it real quick.
Yeah, if you have time, and then anything else, maybe we could come back and answer after.
So right here, my 6-year-old always defaults to the excuse that I never listen to her. I'm constantly waiting for her to try and explain herself, but she says, Mommy, you don't understand. Then she uses the blame game. So yeah, we don't understand. And letting them know that is totally cool. Like saying, I don't understand. Can you just tell me more? I wrote a blog about, and I think it was titled, Tell Me More, because if we say less, they say more. We want to fix things, and I think Laura alluded to this, and I don't know if you're going to be talking about this in the following days, but we're ready to rescue our kids so many times, especially moms. We want to take care of things and protect our kids. But if we can just stay quiet and say, yeah, you're absolutely right, but help me understand where you're coming from. And it's really hard, but the less we say and connect and validating, I hear you. I think I'm understanding a little bit more about what you're telling me. Thank you for telling me this, because it is really hard for me to understand where you're coming from. Yeah, I was a teenager once, but it was different. Because if we say that, no, I was a teenager and it was exactly the same and I understand everything you're going through, there's no way. There's no way they're going to keep opening up. So even using that language, I don't understand. Please tell me. It was different when I was a kid. Let me know. Share with me. And thank you. Thank you for telling me. Thank you for sharing with me. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for giving me a chance to listen to you. Saying those things go a long way.
That's amazing. Thanks, Maria, for that sharing that with us. And I think we should. It's almost that time, so I'll let you go. I know you have another appointment, but please come back again, and maybe we
Thank
can
you so much for having me. And I appreciate the questions. The questions are great.
Yeah,
hypothetical questions are so difficult to respond to, but when we get to the real details, that's what that's really great. And then I hope it's the most helpful. So thank you for all your participation, everyone.
That's great. Thanks, Maria. We'll see you again.
Thank you.
Take care. All right. Thank you all for asking your questions and being here with us today. If you're not here live, then you'll be watching the replay. So definitely ask your questions. This group is for you, and this group is just for the parents, caregivers, guardians of teens. If you work or are raising teens, this is your group. This is your place. This is your safe place to vent or brag or ask questions. And what's really cool about this, and kind of going back to, I'm not sure if I really spoke much about this, but usually what I do in my work is always something that I need in my life. And so I've been able to connect with a lot of amazing parenting experts. And most of them are here in this group. So if you've got questions, now's the time to ask them. just reach out or make a new post and say, here's what's going on. Guaranteed, you are going to be met with support, love, encouragement. You're probably going to be met with, I have been through the same thing, and here's what helped, or I'm in that stage right now, and I really can't wait to hear what someone that's out of that stage now has to recommend. So please just use this group and ask your questions. I am just going to share one more thing before we go, because I promised to be an hour. We've got a couple more minutes. I know we started a little bit late, but I wanted to talk to you about what we're going to be speaking about tomorrow, and I really hope you come on back tomorrow. Tomorrow is all about control, or how to let go of all the control. This one was a really tough thing for me to do, but I can tell you once I did, how my life changed raising these teens and being able to just let go of the control I've had in their younger years and allow them to grow into these amazing young people. And this was really hard for me. I don't know if it's hard for anybody else. I don't know if you're feeling that kind of pain right now. And anytime we're kind of feeling that pain, we know that something's just not right. So I hope tomorrow can really help you with that, letting go of control. Today was all about the connection. Well, this whole week is really all about connection. But it is, again, I want to say, for you as the parent or caregiver of a teen, it is for you. And I just hope that you hear in some of these words of wisdom, I hope you hear something you can take away. The mirroring today, the being mindful, just these tips, just using one of them, and just, start slow if you need to, but just start and see what happens, and then come on back and tell us, like, hey, I used this at dinner. I used this when the kids came home from school, or I used this at, when they were getting ready for school, something. Just come on back and tell us if any of these tips helped out. One last thing I want to share with you, and let me see if I can do this all right. I want to share with you our Parent Teens Club website. Let me just see. Share the technology again. Okay, let me see if that worked. It probably didn't work. Okay. Well, I just want to show you where you can find all these experts that we're speaking with, starting with Laura today, and then Maria. Okay, it's not going to share. It's not going to do it. Oh, maybe it is. Wait, I'm in the wrong spot. That's why. Okay, hang on one second. I'm going to share the website with you, and I'm going to get my